Hi guys, it's Dave here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the CAGED system and how to play chords using the CAGED system. So, what is the CAGED system? So it's a system based on the 5 chords C, A, G, E and D, the open positions of them. So it's based on those 5 chords. So if you don't know those chords, jump to my video where I go over them. And yeah, it's a system for fretboard navigation which allows you to play any major chord you want wherever you want on the fretboard. So why would you want to use this? So you might want to transpose a song into a different key, so it'd be useful for doing that. Also, if someone's playing a C chord, for example, you might want to play a C chord in another place, so if you're jamming, you're not playing the exact same thing. And there's another way of playing a C chord there, or like that. So it adds a bit more thickness to the sound of what you're playing, so it's just good to be a bit different. Yeah, and it's also a basis for soloing as well. But today we're going to be covering chords in this video. Let's get straight into it. The easiest way to explain the CAGED system is to literally just show you. So you'll be able to play a major chord in 5 different places on the fretboard using the CAGED system. So let's take our C chord and apply the CAGED system to the C chord. So first of all, we have a C chord, which looks like that. You should already know that. And that is the first chord of the CAGED system. If you want to play this chord further up the fretboard, so this position, you're going to have to slide your fingers up. So if we slide 2 frets up to a D, we've got this chord here. But that's obviously not a D major because we've still got these open strings. And the open strings, as well as the notes that we're holding on to, need to move up 2 frets as well. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to switch the position of our fingers to this position here. So we've got our pinky on the 5th fret of the A string, and then we're going to bar the 2nd fret here like this, and then we're able to play this C position chord further up the fretboard, and then that can just be shifted. Let me play that chord properly. That can be shifted all across the fretboard, and the note on your 5th fret, on your 5th string, on your A string, is your root note here. So any place you play, you know that your root note is what your pinky is using, and that will be the name of the chord. So we were using C as our example, so our first position, C. Our second position would be the A position. So our A chord looks like that, and we're going to have to make a bar chord. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our middle finger, ring finger and a little finger on the 5th fret of the D, G and B strings, like that. And then we're going to bar the 3rd fret with our index finger. And our root note is on the 5th string, on the A string. And we're going to create a C chord like this. So that is the A position C chord. So that's the second position. As you notice, the root notes are both the same. So that is how the C and the A positions connect to each other. The third position would be the G position. So you should already know your G chord. And now we're going to slide that G chord up 5 frets so that the root and our middle finger is on the 8th fret of the E string. And obviously, when we're playing a G chord, there are 3 open strings here, so they're going to have to shift up as well. So we're going to have to bar the 5th fret and then play place our ring finger on the 8th fret of the E string, our middle finger on the 7th fret of the A string, and our little finger on the 8th fret of the high E string, with the D, G and B strings barred with our index finger on the 5th fret. You notice how there's one gap there on the 6th fret, there's a fret gap, and then we move on to the 7th and 8th frets. And then this chord should sound like this. There you go, there's your C chord. That is probably the trickiest out of the 5 positions to get down. And that is connected by these 3 notes here. So the A and the G chords are connected like that. Cool. So let's move on to the E position. You should know your E chord. And to create the bar chord, let's shift our E chord up 1 fret and then change our fingers so that our middle finger's on the 2nd fret, our little finger's on the 3rd fret, and our ring finger is on the 3rd fret like this. And then we're going to bar the 1st fret, and we're going to shift our 1st finger up to the 8th fret, and including the whole position. Our 8th fret is the root note, just like the G position. And there we go, there's another C major chord using the E position. Cool. And as you can see, they're both connected, the G position and the E position, by this same root note here. Now let's take a look at the 5th and final position, which is the D position. So how do we play a C chord using the D position? Well, we're going to have to shift everything up. Let's shift everything up 1 fret to start off with. Then we're going to shift our fingers to this position so that our middle finger is on the 3rd fret of the G string, our little finger is on the 4th fret of the B string, and our ring finger is on the 3rd fret of the E string. And then we're going to place our 1st finger on the 1st fret of the D string. Then we shift that position up all the way up to the 10th fret with our index finger, and then our middle and ring finger should be on the 12th fret, and our little finger should be on the 13th fret. And then we're just going to play those 4 strings, and we've got a C chord in the D position. So those are the 5 positions of the CAGED system, and you can apply this to any other chord. So my homework for you would be to work out how to play all 12 major chords in all 5 positions across the fretboard. What you should remember is that on the C position, the root note is on the 5th string. On the A position, the root note is also on the A string, and it's in the same place. Then the G position, the root note is on the E string, and the E position, the root note is also on the E string, in the same place as the G string, as the G position, my bad. And the D position, the root note is on the D string. If you haven't checked out my video on fretboard memorization, you should check it out. It will really help you remember where each note is and help with this exercise. So, a couple of tips before I finish this video on how you can nail these chords, because they are quite tricky to do. So, just remember to keep your thumb behind the neck, not over the neck like this, behind the neck, and on the lower half of the neck will really help. And the second tip would be to only bar the strings that need barring. So there's no point barring all 6 strings on the G position. That's just going to make things a lot harder for you. You can just bar those 3 strings here, the D, the G and the B strings, and it'll make life a lot easier for you. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, please drop them down in the comments. Also, drop down in the comments what you want to see next, because I'd love to hear your suggestions. Like the video and subscribe to my channel, because there's going to be loads more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.